Now you can see I took the door panel off the back door. Down here is the metal plate where I put that magnetic Frugal factor sign that I use on the back of the van when I'm driving. This map of the United States is going to be right here. And then up top, I have a large map of Alaska. Then what's going to happen is there's going to be a large piece of polycarbonate that the maps are going to be attached to, and that's going to slide right underneath. This piece of wood is slotted, so it will hold that in place. I need to cut the pieces of polycarbonate so that each map will be individually held on a piece of polycarbonate. That way I'd be able to take this map off and update it, and I could individually take this map off. So I want each one on a separate piece of polycarbonate. Now that's the passenger door. On the driver's door will be a similar thing with a map of Canada. And you can see right here, this slips right underneath because we cut that slot on the table saw. To cut the polycarbonate, I'm going to use a jigsaw to cut this gentle curve. And I'm using a carbide bit. It's got, I believe, 80 teeth per inch. Got to have a lot of teeth because the plastic is very hard. Important to support the plastic with the edge of your workbench so that you don't crack it. Now another tip is to always use polycarbonate and not plexiglass. How do you tell the difference? Well, if you take a look, here's some other pieces, much thicker pieces of plastic than what I'm using for the map cover. If you take a look at these on the edge, you notice this is clear and this is very dark. Let me mix them up here so that we got dark, clear, dark, clear. The dark is polycarbonate. The clear is plexiglass. You don't want plexiglass. Plexiglass is rather brittle, and if you try to drill it with a dull bit, it'll crack and shatter. Polycarbonate will not shatter. It machines very, very nicely. Polycarbonate is commonly called Lexan. So that's what you want to have, Lexan. Now I'm pulling everything off of there to flip the sheet over and show you what this is. This is a Lexan sheet. It's a polycarbonate sheet. It's XL102UV. So not only is it Lexan, it is also UV resistant. So it'll actually protect the maps from fading. Both sides UV protected. Now to true up the edge, you can take a standard file or a rasp and just run it along the edge. Get out any imperfections. Also, I find polycarbonate does not leave as many sharp edges or sharp pieces that might go into your fingers. It's a little bit better. And then finally, if you're a perfectionist, you can use some steel wool. If you want to polish up the edge, you get a little steel wool in there. But be careful, it will scratch the polycarbonate. But if you're just getting the edge, you can polish up the edge and make it nice and pretty and smooth. I would only do this when the protective plastic is still on there. If you see up here, we've got our little board with the slit in it for the polycarbonate to slide in. Our map will actually be attached to the polycarbonate when this is done. And then this is our polycarbonate sheet that we just form fitted. We cut it so it perfectly fits. And of course the map is going to be attached to the polycarbonate, and it will be held in like that. A rail like this, I believe, is going to be down here, and that way I can just loosen the thumb screws and slide this out, or just remove it by sliding it out, or just taking it down and taking it off. Why would I do that? Well, I want each map on its own piece of polycarbonate so I can update the route. I'm going to cut the sheet of polycarbonate down to size using the table saw. I've got a plastic cutting blade on this. It has 80 teeth. Don't do this with a wood cutting blade that might only have 24 teeth. You need more teeth per inch to cut a hard material like this polycarbonate. Having the wrong blade, you could shatter the polycarbonate, and it could kind of be dangerous. I've done it with a wood blade with 60 teeth, and it just doesn't give as smooth a cut. So this blade is definitely worth it. And of course, always, have hearing protection and eye protection. I really like these safety glasses because they have little magnifiers on the bottom. Oh, let's give this a try. Now you saw in the beginning there when I started, it jumped a little bit. I went a little bit too fast in the beginning, and I got a little chip in the plastic right here. So going slow is a good idea. This part here you can see I've measured multiple times, and I'm going to cut this out with the jigsaw after I test fit it a few more times. And this is the part that goes over the handle that opens and closes the door from the inside. So I took one of the T-nuts and I flattened down the prongs. The reason I did this was so that I could gauge the depth. And when this gets installed, it's going to be just above the surface, which is really good because I can drill the holes in the polycarbonate so it will just drop right over that. To install these, you got to make sure you have the right size drill bit. So when I flattened this out, I figured out what size drill bit I needed so that it will perfectly fit. And that's a 5/16 inch drill bit. So usually you would drill a hole and you would just hammer these in. But that would be a little difficult because this is kind of thin and floppy. So we're going to pull it through. And I'm simply going to place this on the other side, just like that. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the prongs are pushed right up against the wood. I'm going to place this on top. My steel washer, which I drilled a little bit larger hole, 5/16 of an inch. We're going to put the screw in. It's a 1/4 20 screw. And I'm just going to apply pressure. Now, underneath I can feel that it is now flush. So we just pulled that through, and you see how it sticks up? And that's going to be nice because this board is about the same thickness as the plexiglass. So that'll fit right in there. Kind of lock it in place. So I used the router and I cut that little notch because it needs to go right over those T-nuts. That's how precise this thing. Doing this because we don't want to paint the back, because we don't want it to get stuck if we ever have to remove it. We want it to come off nice and clean. So we put tape on the back so we don't paint it.